Welcome to a sacred exploration of trauma-informed wellness, a journey that invites us to witness the silent burdens we carry and the radiant resilience we hold. In this time of global awakening, the call to nurture ourselves and one another with compassion has never been more essential. Trauma-informed wellness is more than a framework. It is a remembrance of our interconnectedness and a return to wholeness. Trauma-informed wellness acknowledges that many people walk through life carrying invisible wounds, some personal, others ancestral or collective. These wounds affect how we breathe, love, trust, and even how we inhabit our bodies. Rather than asking, "What's wrong with you?" it gently wonders, "What happened to you? And how can healing unfold in your unique rhythm?" It offers a compassionate lens that embraces nervous system regulation, personal agency, and relational safety. Healing is not about fixing or erasing, but about witnessing, integrating, and creating space for new possibilities. Our understanding of trauma has traveled a long road. Historically mischaracterized and often dismissed, trauma was once viewed through rigid, reductionist models. From the labeling of women's distress as hysteria in the 19th century to the early 20th century diagnosis of shell shock among soldiers, trauma was tied to specific contexts and often pathologized. The recognition of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, in the DSM-III marked a pivotal shift, yet it wasn't until the ACE study in the late 1990s that the broader health implications of trauma were laid bare. This study revealed trauma's impact not just on mental health, but also on heart disease, diabetes, and early mortality. It ignited a movement toward compassion-centered care that acknowledges long-term physiological effects of early adversity. Today, new frontiers in neuroscience, somatics, and epigenetics allow us to understand trauma not just as an event, but as an imprint, an echo held within the body, nervous system, and even the genes passed to the next generation. Long before Western psychology named trauma, traditional cultures nurtured healing through community, ritual, and nature. In indigenous frameworks, trauma is a spiritual disconnection, a rupture between the individual and the living world. Healing involves reweaving that sacred bond through ceremony, land-based practices, and ancestral dialogue. In the African diasporic traditions, rhythm and movement become medicine. Drum circles and dance serve not only as expressions of joy, but also as ancestral technologies of release and reconnection. Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine view trauma as a disruption in the body's energy systems, prana or qi. Healing is about restoring flow, using herbs, breath, and lifestyle practices attuned to seasonal and elemental rhythms. Latin American and Middle Eastern spiritual traditions often embrace the idea of spiritual affliction or soul disturbances, healed through collective prayer, symbolic purification, and embodied resilience. Each cultural model teaches us that trauma does not belong solely to the individual. It ripples through generations and communities, and healing must ripple just as far. Modern neuroscience affirms that trauma reshapes the brain. The amygdala becomes hyperactive, constantly scanning for danger. The hippocampus, our memory regulator, shrinks, leaving experiences disorganized and vivid. The prefrontal cortex, seat of logic and emotional regulation, goes offline in moments of overwhelm. Trauma also lives in the body. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk refers to the body as an archive of experience. This means that the trembling hands, tight chest, or chronic fatigue are not failures but messages, signals from an intelligent body calling for care. Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory adds a profound layer, teaching us that the autonomic nervous system is not binary, fight or flight versus rest. It includes social engagement and freeze states shaped by safety and threat. Healing, then, involves returning to states of regulation through co-regulation, presence, and body-based tools. Trauma is linked to conditions like autoimmune disorders, chronic inflammation, and cardiovascular disease. The science reminds us trauma is not just in your head, it's woven into every cell. Trauma, through a spiritual lens, is a dissonance in the soul's music. Shamanic traditions speak of soul loss, when a part of the soul departs to survive overwhelming pain. This lost essence can be called back through ritual, intention, and loving presence. Carl Jung introduced the idea of the wounded healer, that those who have endured great suffering often become vessels of healing for others. Trauma becomes the fire through which wisdom is forged. Some quantum consciousness theories propose that trauma distorts our energetic vibration. Just as sound creates sacred geometry in water, thoughts and emotions imprint on our subtle bodies. Healing is the process of restoring resonance through love, forgiveness, presence, and aligned intention. In this light, trauma isn't only a wound, it is an initiation into deeper layers of being, asking us to remember our interconnectedness with spirit and source. Each pillar serves as a sacred foundation. Safety is the cornerstone. Without it, no healing can happen. Choice restores dignity to those who have been disempowered. Trustworthiness builds the bridges where connection was once broken. Empowerment reminds the wounded they are not fragile, they are fierce. Cultural humility acknowledges that healing doesn't look the same for everyone. Collaboration affirms that healing is not done to someone, but with them. These are not just principles for wellness practitioners. They are principles for how we live and love in this world. Trauma may feel like a ghost, showing up in migraines, fatigue, autoimmune flares, digestive distress, or insomnia. It hides in relational patterns, the fear of abandonment, the need to overachieve, the avoidance of intimacy. It reshapes self-perception, warps time, and dulls pleasure. And yet, healing is possible. The body wants to release. The nervous system wants to rest. The soul longs to return. When we offer ourselves compassion, we activate the body's innate healing intelligence. Safety is not a luxury. It is a biological imperative. We must expand our lens. Trauma is not just individual, it is collective. It is found in the generational aftermath of genocide, slavery, colonization, and displacement. It is perpetuated by systems of racism, sexism, ableism, and classism. Epigenetics now shows us that trauma can be inherited. The descendants of Holocaust survivors, enslaved people, or war refugees may carry biochemical echoes of ancestral pain. Yet collective healing is real. It begins with truth-telling, accountability, land rematriation, reparations, and radical community care. It requires us to reimagine schools, hospitals, justice systems, so they do not re-traumatize, but restore. There is no one path. Healing is a mosaic. Somatic practices help us return to the wisdom of the body. Ecotherapy reconnects us with the earth as mother, mirror, and medicine. Therapies like EMDR or internal family systems access parts of us that hold trauma with compassion. Spiritual rituals restore the sacred. Creative expression allows the soul to speak what the mind cannot articulate. Each practice invites us to become fluent in our own inner language, to trust the body, to trust the breath, to trust the process. Trauma-informed wellness is not just a method. It is a prayer that no one need suffer in silence again, that every body becomes a sanctuary, that every breath becomes a blessing. You are not broken. You are breaking open. The future is not a destination. It is a garden we cultivate together, one act of tenderness at a time. Thank you for being part of this healing revolution.